Hey, I know this walk ain't popular, but I follow where your light goes. I know it's you, nothing impossible. Connected to my armor, bro, shining like a light bulb.
Mystery Babel, or Mystery Babylon, the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Barak Yahuwah, Ruma Mu Yahuwah. Shabbat Shalom, beloved family. All esteem to our King, our Creator, Yahuwah Yahusha, Allahu Yah, Barak Yahuwah. Today we're back with another one, another teaching, one that's a bit overdue, Barak Yahuwah. It's a bit overdue, but finally it's here. And this one is titled Mystery Babylon. What is it, or who is it, Barak Yahuwah? Today we'll be diving into the understanding, the mystery behind it, so that we can truly understand who or what this really is. Barak Yahuwah. Before we dive into it, definitely going to go into Palal, go before the feet of Yahuwah, Yahusha, Rumamu, Yahuwah, in the Abri tongue, the pure Kadash tongue of Yahuwah, Rumamu, Yahuwah. Be saying Yahuwah's Palal. Barak Yahuwah, Allahu Yah, Barak Yahuwah, Yada Yahuwah, Tuda Yahuwah. Abinu, Ba Shamayim, Kadashki Shamka, Malakutka, Bua, Yah Ra'uka, Asha, Al Aratskan, Bashamayim, Natan Lanu Hayum At Laham Bahazara, Usalah Lanu Lahatenu, Ki Lanu Salah Utam, La Ata Imkam, Kwara Lanu, Uparat Lanu La Taha, U Yashat Lanu Mahrasha, La Malakutka, Shula, Haka U Hakabat. Burukata Adonai Yahuwah Malika Lam Bahasham Al Kal Shamut Yahuwah Yahusha Aman Barak Yahuwah. Now let's interpret that. And it follows: Our Father in heaven, separated or called out is your name. Your kingdom come, Yahuwah, your will be done / accomplished on earth, so it is in heaven. Give or distribute us the day covenant bread in the need, and forgive us for our crimes, as we ask the forgiveness for their crimes against us. Lead us not astray, and rescue us from evil doing. For your kingdom reigns, the power and the esteem. Exalted are you, Yahuwah, King forever. In the name above all names, Yahuwah, who is Yahusha. Aman. So be it. Barak Yahuwah. Rumamu Yahuwah. Man, Apollo, everyone has been doing well. And you all had a grand fall feast, grand feasting in Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah. All esteemed to Abba Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah. Man. Thank you, Abba. We have made it through another feast, Mashbaka. The enemy didn't want us to keep this feast. The enemy didn't want us to see it, but we have made it. The enemy wanted us to be dead, but we have made it. Ruma, Mu, Yahuwah. And Yahuwah deserved the praise. Yahuwah deserved all the esteem for that. It's not our doing, family. Ruma, Mu, Yahuwah. So Apollo, you all are doing well, and that you had a grand time. We're here at another Shabbat Yom, Barak Yahuwah, my favorite time of the week. Thank you, Abba. Thank you, Abba. So everyone is doing well. Ruma Mu Yahuwah. Please feel free to comment. Barak Yahuwah, let me know how y'all are doing. How was the feast for you guys? Just let me know. Just want to find out how you guys have been doing and how was the feast for y'all. Barak Yahuwah. But this is not what we're about today, really. Barak Yahuwah. We are really about today finding out who or what is Mystery Babylon. Barak Yahuwah. Now, as you can see on the screen, we are at Revelation chapter 17, verse 5. And he's talking about, the great whore. Let's go back up to verse 1 so you can get a better understanding. So we are at Hazun. The Hebrew word would be Hazun. It is spelled Chazun. Hazun, which means he is our vision. All right, he is a vision. So verse 1 reads, and there came one of the 7 messengers, not angels, because this word is from the word angelos. That's where you get the word Los Angeles from. Angelos, angels, Los Angeles, and all this nonsense. That's not the correct translation for Malak or Malachi. Malak means messenger. Malachi means messengers. No, when you say it, Malak is one word when you say it. But when you look at it in the Abrit, it's 2 words. Malak can either be messenger or it can be king. It can be either messenger or king. Barak Yahuwah, depending on the letters that are used. Like when you use the ayin in the word malak, you're speaking to the messengers, because the messengers, they do what? They watch, they see with their eye. Now, when you're speaking to a sovereign, a king, you will not use an ayin nor an aleph. There's no a in that one. It's just the it's just the ma'im or the mam. It's just the mam. It's just the lamad. And it's just the kaf. That's it. But with the malak for messenger, you have an ayin within that word. So that's the difference between the two. But as I said, saying it, you won't see it. But if you write it out, you will see the difference. So in this regard, the true translation or interpretation of the word malakim is messengers. That's what they are, messengers. Whenever Yahuwah wants to send a message to his people on earth, who does he call upon? Who does he send to do that job, to carry out that message? Those in the Shamayim with him. That's why he would always say, come, let us make man in our image, or come, let us go down to them, come, let us do this. When he says, come, let us, he's speaking to the messengers with him in the Shamayim. He's not speaking to the Ruach Hadash and his son. That's a nonsense lie that we need to get out of from Christianity, from religion. I mean, that's a deception that we have heard in religion. Do you really believe that's true? Pastors in religion teach this nonsense. Do you really think that concept is really true and valid? Because he said, come, let us. So he's speaking to his son and the messengers. All right, if he was speaking to his son, if his son was present at the time and he's speaking to his son when he was creating Adam, then why in Isaiah would he then disown his son? If his son was present there, if Yahusha is his son, a separate person, separate being, and he was present from creation, why then in Isaiah would he disown his son? When he says, I am Yahuwah, and beside me there is no other redeemer. If his son is right there beside him, then he's basically disowning his son. He's saying that I don't see him, I don't recognize him. It makes no sense whatsoever. But again, as I said, this is a deception of religion, a deception that we're going to get into today, so you can truly understand why this is happening, why there are so much divisions in this walk. Religion has infiltrated this walk as well. Barak Yahuwah. So, true translation, messengers. So one of the 7 messengers which had the 7 vials or bowl, all right, and talked with me, saying unto me, come here, and I will show unto you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon men, or Salach Yahuwah, much waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. This is not talking about physical sex. This is talking about spiritual fornication. Physical as well, physical fornication, but this is mostly referring to the spiritual fornication, idolatry, worshiping other mighty ones. That's what Yahuwah is talking about. Because we are supposed to be Yahuwah's bride. And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the room into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, full of names. It doesn't have one name, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, and having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babel, or Babylon, the great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. Yahuwah. That's where we're going to stop before we get into more of Revelation. But before we can do that, we definitely need to understand Babel or Babylon. And in order to understand this, we need to understand the first Babylon, the second Babylon. Then now we have the third Babylon. Some of you might not know that, but yes, we have 3 Babylons according to scripture. Now, this video is truly needed because I've seen a lot of persons try to break down or explain Mystery Babylon, and most persons always tie Mystery Babylon to America. They always call America Babylon. They always call America Salaki Yahuwah for saying that word. Because we recently found out, not recently found out, but going deeper into this word, into the origin of this word, we found out that it's attached to the name of a mighty one. We already know, most of you would already know that the original name for America would be Amaruka. Amaruka. Watchman Yeshai already exposed that and explained that, which means land of the feathered serpents. But it really means land of the flying serpents or land of the dragons. That's what it truly means, land of the flying serpents. But that name, that word is attached to a mighty one as well. If you go deeper, you'll see it. So I will no longer say it or use it. So Salahi, forgive me, Yahuwah, for using it. But just for teaching's sake, so you guys can all understand and go research this for yourself, it's spelled Amaruka. I know they have taught in schools, especially in the US, that it was named after an Italian explorer. That's a lie. It was not named after an Italian explorer. It goes a lot further and deeper than that. It was from the Ican clan or tribe that gave this name, the original name of the US or of the United States. So do your proper research, not school research. Schools are all indoctrination camps, trying to get us to be programmed to their system. And I'm going to show you a part of the school system in the scriptures. I'm going to show you school basically in the scriptures. Barak Yahuwah. You're not going to be seeing it by name, because this is the thing that people need to understand. We will not see these things by name. You will not see birthday. You will not see like not birthday, because we did see that in the scriptures basically with Pharaoh and Herod. Even Job's sons, they celebrated as well, even though he did not mention it. But if you do the research and find out about birthdays, only males were allowed to celebrate their birthdays back in the day. A woman was not allowed to do so. So that's why you would never see no woman celebrating her birthday in the scriptures. Only males like Pharaoh and Herod. And now Job's son, because if we read that part, chapter 1, it says that they were on his day. They said on his day. That's what we consider our birthdays to be, our day. Did we make any day? How can we take a day to say this is our day? No righteous person in scripture ever did that. So why should we do it today? It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter the circumstances. It doesn't matter if we live to see 50, 60, 70 years old. By you doing that, you're basically taking the esteem from Yahuwah and giving it to yourself. So some things you will not exactly see by its name today because it was not called that back in the day. Like, for teaching example, Xmas, or as they say, Christmas or Christmas, so like Yahuwah. Back in the day, it was not called that. It was called Saturnalia. So you will not see that in scriptures. You will not see Halloween in the scriptures because back in the day, it would have been called something else. This is what you need to understand. English is a hybrid language. English is a mixture. It is the one word language. That's why the entire world is learning it because they want to bring it back to the back as it was in the beginning, where all the earth, everyone on earth were speaking in one language. And I'm going to show you that in today's video. So please stop telling me nonsense or stop showing me English words and all this stupidness and trying to prove your point. Prove it with the Hebrew language. Prove to me in the Hebrew or even the Greek. Because even in the Greek doesn't add up or line up with English today. If you look at a lot of Greek words, if you use the strong, I mean, they put it right there in the strong, right there, but you don't pay attention. If you look at the strong, the word in English, let's say the word might say, first day of the week or first day of the week. Let's just use it. The word might say first day of the week, or the word might say week. And when you get to the Greeks and you look at the Greeks, it does not say that. It says something else like Sabbathon. When you look at it, it tells you what it means, what it should be saying. So you see, in the Greek, it was a little bit more accurate than it is today in English. So stop showing me English and trying to prove why you do this or why you do that or whatever the case might be. You're just trying to find some reason to do this unrighteous activity. You're just trying to find some reason not to change. That's the thing that you're looking for. You're looking for a loophole. You're looking for an escape path. You are deflecting. But it is what it is. It just goes to show out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So, as I said, you will not see some things as you know it today by its name in the Bible. You will not see it there. But if you read and study with understanding, research the origin of things, research the origin of Xmas, research the origin of Halloween, research the origin of birthday celebrations, research the origin of Sunday worship, research the origins of these things, then you will see that it is not of Yahuwah. It is a wickedness. It is paganism, idolatry. And if it's paganism, idolatry, then it's something that Yahuwah hates. And you should all hate as well. No excuse you will have. None. Let's continue. Barak Yahuwah. So, going back to the origin, we need to understand what or who Babylon really is. Is it really the United States? Or is it something else? So much persons teaching videos out there showing teachings and videos out there saying that it is the United States. Some are saying it's China. Some are saying it's Russia and all this stuff. But today we'll be getting to the bottom of this. And why people make these claims is because they don't know the first Babylon. They don't understand. Well, they know it, but they don't understand. They don't tie these two together, the first and second Babylon. They don't look at the comparison because there is a comparison with the third Babylon, the second and the first. They're all the same. It's one pattern. It's one pattern. So the reason why people will say, the United States is Babylon, because they know that Babylon, we were brought into Babylon in slavery. So because Babylon was slavery, they're saying, United States is slavery. But the problem is with that, you would be basically saying then all of Yahuwah's people are only in the United States, the US. In scripture, Yahuwah says his people have been scattered all over the earth. not the only in the United States. So if it's not only in the United States, the US, then that means the US cannot be Mystery Babylon. As a matter of fact, the US was not the world superpower. Before the US, you had Britain, the United Kingdom. They were the world superpower. And before that, you had the Byzantines, the longest reigning kingdom on this earth. The Britain was the world's largest, and Byzantine was the world's longest reign. The mystery Babylon is going to reign until Yahuwah gets rid of it. And America, so like Yahuwah, the US will fall from power. So it could not be mystery Babylon. It's going to fall, and it's going to fall pretty soon. So in order for you to say that it's mystery Babylon, all of Yahuwah's people have to be there. And the United States is not in control of everywhere in the world. The whole entire world doesn't bow down to the US. Everyone doesn't walk or operate like how Americans operate. I mean, as a matter of fact, you got a lot of nations that copy Jamaica, our culture. Right now, the dances, the songs are getting very, very popular all over. But does that make Jamaica Mystery Babylon? You got to first understand the first Mystery Babylon and the second, not the first Mystery Babylon, but the first Babylon and the second Babylon, so you can understand the third Babylon. When you understand the first and second one, then it will be easy for you to know Mystery Babylon today. Why is it a mystery? If it was the United States, then it would not be a mystery. It is something that most people would not know is Babylon. So yes, slavery is a part of Babylon, but it's more than slavery that took place in Babylon, and we're going to show you. Now let's jump to the first Babylon, found in the book of Barashit. In the simple terms, it means in beginning. In a concrete term, using the Hebrew letters, it means the host of the highest, the host of the head of the highest power shall be consumed on the stake, shall be consumed by his own hands on the stake. That's what Barashit means if you use all the letters. Now, let's go to chapter 11, Barak Yahuwah, and let's read from verse 1 through to 7. Now, it reads, verse 1 clearly says, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. As I said, the entire earth does not talk how the US talk, but we know which language today is reigning. The most used and popular language today is what? English. It's the most used and popular language today. Persons all over are learning this language. I mean, if you should go to China, you got persons speaking English in China. You go to Japan, you go almost anywhere in the world today, you can find someone speaking English within that country. And I'm not talking about tourists that go to the island that's speaking. I'm talking about the original person of that place speaking that language. So the first thing that they're trying to do is they're trying to get back the entire earth to speak one language. Why? Now let's find out why. Why is this important today? Why is this important today, family? Let's find out. Verse 2. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said, Shinar also speaks to Nimrod. Nimrod was the first man on earth to be worshipped as a mighty one. No. And they said to one another in this one language, go to, Let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick from stone, and slim had they for mortar, basically cement. We would know it as today. And they said, go to, let us build us a city. Let us build us a city or a house. Another word is a house or a city, and a tower whose top might reach unto the heavens. You all hear that? And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. On the face of the whole earth. And Yahuwah came down to see the city and the tower which the children of mankind built. Now listen to the next verse. And Yahuwah said, behold, the people is one, and they all have one language. And this they begin to do, and no, nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go, let us go down and there confound their language, that they might not understand one another's speech. So Yahuwah scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. So do you see? The original people of Babylon, first people, they are scattered all over the earth. It did not say he shipped them to the United States. So that debunks that the United States, that's the first debunk, that the United States is not Babylon. Verse 9, therefore is the name of it called Babel. Babel. What does Babel means? This is where you get the word Babylon from. Babel. Babel means confusion or to confound. A house within a house. Aha. A house or a city within a city. This is interesting. This is interesting. Because in Revelation, we heard that Mystery Babylon, that whore was a city as well. This is interesting. Or a house. Because Yahuwah did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did Yahuwah scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. Now, this is why today we have nations speaking different tongues or different languages because of what took place in the first Babel. So what are they trying to do today? The first thing they need to do is get everyone to speak one tongue, one language. Why? So it's easier for everyone to understand each other so that they can come together and be united. So they're trying to unite, they're trying to bring back all the people of Babel, and not only the people of Babel, but anyone who's willing to be a part of this kingdom back together. So that's the understanding of the first Babylon people. They had a leader, they had a king. His name was Nimrod. It was the first man on earth to be worshipped as a mighty one. He told them, let us build a city or a house within a house. Let's build a city and a tower. And they wanted to make that tower reach into the heavens because they wanted to overthrow Yahuwah. Because remember, they're being influenced by Hashatan, and that's his goal. He said he wants to be Yahuwah. He wants to overthrow Yahuwah. And if I know that he's not in the heavens anymore, well, guess what? He came to earth trying to do so, trying to sit in the house or the temple of Yahuwah. And we know where the house or temple of Yahuwah is today. We are the host temple of Yahuwah today. And Hashatan is trying to sit within Yahuwah's house, but he's trying to build his own house within us, through us. Barak Yahuwah, getting somewhere. So that's the first Babylon, with the tower and all that. We already know this story. But did we really examine the story? Pay attention to some key parts of the story. So, as I said, they first were speaking in one language, so their language was all together because they need to understand each other in order to work together. How can you have 10 persons working together if they don't understand each other? You will have a problem. You don't have any interpreter there. You just got these 10 persons, each person speaking a different language. None understand each other. Someone saying, hey, Pastor Inch, ¿cómo está? Pastor Inch, ¿cómo está? Hey, can you tell him to Pastor Inch for me? Tell him to Pastor Inch. No one is understanding each other. That's confusion. Nothing will be done. You tell him to pass the wrench, he passes the blowtorch. Or he passes you a screwdriver. Or guess what? He's going to get mad and get frustrated and walk away. And that's what happened in the first Babylon. They got mad, frustrated because they could not understand each other and all that stuff. And then Yahuwah scattered them. So now they're trying to go back to the origin, as Yahuwah says. So it was in the days of Nuh, so shall it be in the end. Hashatan is trying to go back to the old it was back then, when all the earth was corrupted. But this time, Yahuwah will not flood the earth with water. He would flood the earth with what? Fire and brimstone. Barak Yahuwah. So they all were speaking in one tongue, one language. What is the next key part of this? They were making a city for themselves. They were making a city for themselves, not only a city, but they made a name for themselves. So they had basically a name change. They had a name change because remember, they were from descendants of righteous people. Some were from, unrighteous people, but at the end of the day, we are all from Adam and Hua at the end of the day. Not every human being, because some human beings came into this earth illegally. Some are of the Nephilim bloodline. Some might not know this or accept it. This is what it is. This is the truth. You got some very powerful families, leaders that tell you this, that they are of the Nephilim bloodline. They are of the giants bloodline. They actually tell you this. How do you think Goliath came to be? You have rich families, leaders that actually tell you this, but they tell you in a coded way. You would have to do your research to see who he's talking about. Like they will mention a mighty one's name, that this is the mighty one they serve, and they are of his bloodline. If you look at the mighty one, you will realize that he's a giant. He's a watcher, rather. He was a watcher. The name that they had given him was the name of a watcher. So they're telling you, I'm of the watcher's blood or bloodline. That's how I came to be today. That's why these people today, some of them, they have no heart. They don't care. They will never accept the truth because they are not originally from Yahuwah. And if you read the book of 2nd Esdras, even in the book of 2nd Esdras, Yahuwah told Ezra this. Yahuwah said, not all seed are from me. So you need to understand this. So they said, let us make a name. So they had one language. They were building a city. They wanted to make a name for themselves. And they worship a man. They place a man and they worship a man. Barak Yahuwah. So those are key parts that you need to have in order to understand Mystery Babylon today. Now let's go to the second Babylon, Barak Yahuwah. Let's jump to the second Babylon, which we can find in the book of Daniel or Daniel. Book of Daniel. Yes, this I'm talking about Nebuchadnezzar or Nebuchadnezzar. Book of Daniel, let's read chapter 1 first, then we'll go to chapter 3 real quick. Now, chapter 1, verse 1, it reads, in the third year of the reign of Yahuah'S, Yahuah'S means Yahuwah will rise, king of Yehuda, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it. And Adonai, that's Yahuwah, gave Yahuah'S, king of Yehuda, into his hand, Nebuchadnezzar. with part of the vessels of the house of Alua, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his mighty ones. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his mighty ones. Why did Yahuwah give this king into the hands of Nebuchadnezzar? Because the people were disobedient. So he was sending them into slavery again. Barak Yahuwah. And the king spoke unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Yasharal, and of the king's seed, and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, skillful in all wisdom, cunning in knowledge, and understanding science, and such has had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue or language of the Kasdim. Why did they want to teach them this? Remember, they were Yahudim. They spoke what? Abarit. So in order for them to be in the king's palace, they need to understand the king. The king needs to understand them when they speak. So he established for the children to be taught, to be trained. Don't you all see today, even though it doesn't say school or education system, but this is what it is. Nebuchadnezzar was giving them his own education system. This was Nebuchadnezzar's education system, his school, college, university, high school, all that nonsense. He was teaching children who were skillful in all wisdom, cunning, knowledge, all that stuff, teaching them what? How to be in the king's palace, how to operate and govern the province of his palace. So if he should give out a certain command or a degree, he would have persons that can do so. He would have persons who understand science, understand this, make that. Look at it today. Don't we see that today, family? They have established schools so that we can understand science or understand this, understand that. Why? Because they need workers. They don't need thinkers. That's what the man who really established schools today, he said this. He did not need thinkers. He needs workers. And that's why schools are designed for you to work. They first teach you what? English. First teach you how to speak, how to read, and how to spell. How to spell. Do you know why they teach you how to spell? Because that's what you do. Spell in. You're casting a spell with using these English words. That's why I have to keep on saying Salaki Yahuwah, because I keep saying Mighty One's name, or I'm saying words that is casting a spell on you. Barak Yahuwah. I have a video coming. on the channel. It's gonna be dropped first day of the week, Sunday to Monday, thereabout, with our Ahuti. Our Ahuti did a wonderful exposure on some pagan mighty ones and words that we use a lot. Words that especially celebrities use, artists in the worldly fashion, that they use a lot. Because in these songs, they cast spells. So we do this all the time and not even know that we're doing. I mean, if you, for example, let me show you one. When you call someone nice, have you ever looked up the origin of the word nice? The origin of the word nice is not positive. Nice really means to be unknown, to be unaware, foolish, to be a fool. So when you say, oh, you're so nice, you're saying, oh, you're so fool, you're so unaware, you're so unknowing. And there are other words that you can look up. There are other English words that you can look up. So that's why they call it spell in, because that's what you're doing. You're casting a spell. So they established schools and colleges and universities and all this nonsense so that we can have persons who understand science, skillful in all wisdom, knowledge, cunning, and all that stuff. So we have doctors today, so-called doctors, so-called physicians, which they're not really doctors, they're not really physicians, because the scripture says physicians, not doctors. They're not true physicians, because pharmakia, hospitals, all these medicines, they are literally poisoning you. That's why they have a snake, a serpent on their for their medical symbol, on their medical symbol. They could have chosen any other animal. They could have chosen a hummingbird, a doctor bird. We here in Jamaica we call it a doctor bird because it nurtures, plants and all that stuff. They could have chose that. They could have chose some other animal that does some kind of nurturing healing. But they chose one of the most venomous animals or creatures on this earth, and that's a snake, a serpent. Why do you think they chose a serpent? They are literally telling you the truth right there before your eyes in plain sight. These pills and potions, as Nicki Minaj would say, pills and potions, even her, she said pills and potions. We're overdosing. She's trying to say it, but they can't really say it like that because they would be assassinated and killed by the beast. Because most of these celebrities, I mean, not all, not all, some have came close, but when they decided not to sell their soul, not to give their soul or their life to the devil, you don't hear them anymore. There are several artists that got approached to make this decision, but because they chose not to, what does the devil do? The devil makes sure they do not have any platform to be popular, to be known, to be seen or recognized. And that's why some celebrities don't get the same popularity as others do, because they did not make the sacrifice that others do. Then you have some that get tired of living a life for the devil, making these sacrifices, drinking animals and children's blood, and having orgies, even having sex with older males. They get tired of it, and now they start to leak and expose the lies. That's why you see some of these celebrities today, they are all of a sudden sick, or they're in a psych ward because they paint them as being insane, being crazy, being mad. I mean, look at Mel Gibson. That's what he's kind of doing. He's exposing the lies and deceptions that's going behind Hollywood, even with his movie that he came out with. They do these things all the time, but we don't pay attention. We don't stop and slow down and pay attention because the beast system got us so busy. So we don't get to pay attention. We don't get to focus. It's just like that movie, They Live. In the movie They Live, without you knowing, in your regular eyes, you cannot see the signs. You cannot see the truth. But when the guy put on the glasses, that's when he saw the billboards were not actual billboards advertising, magazines or cars or beauty products. They were really saying, don't question authority. Work 8 hours. Sleep, eat, repeat. Do this. Obey. Submit. That's what they were really saying. So you have to slow down. You have to research if you really want to understand what's going on in the world today. So that's what they got us to do today. That's what we are. That's why you got these pilots and all these people today, because they need workers. Now, without these workers, their kingdom cannot function. They cannot operate. It's just like a hotel. Without any bellhops, then the guests would have to take their luggage to their room. Without any front desk, then you have no one to check them in. Without any housekeeping, then you have no one to clean their rooms. Without any chefs, no food, no servers, no lifeguards. All these people come together to make the hotel work, the kingdom work. That's what we had in the first Babylon. Now we are at the second Babylon, and that's what Nebuchadnezzar is establishing. He is establishing and making sure that the Yahudim children, the Hebrew children, know how to operate in his kingdom, in this new life that they're walking into, because they're no longer of Yahuwah. They're no longer Hebrews. They are no Babylonians. So they have been given different things. So here's where he started to teach, or school was established for the Yahudim children. Moving on to the next verse. Not only was there education changed, because remember, they were supposed to learn the ways of Yahuwah. Grow your child in the way that he should go, so that when he gets old, it's harder for it to depart from it. The Shama says, Shama Yasharal, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah Ahad. Hear and guard, Yasharal, Yahuwah, your power, Yahuwah is one. And you shall love Yahuwah with all your heart, with all your might, with all your soul. And these words which I'm commanding you this day, you shall talk of them and all that stuff. And guess what the other part says? And you shall teach them diligently unto your children. We did not get the teaching of Yahuwah. We were not taught the Torah. We were taught the things of the world. We were taught what the devil wanted us to know, not the truth, that is. So not only that, but what? The king also appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were the children of Yahuda, Daniel, Hanan Yahu, Mishaal, and Azar Yahu. Barak Yahuwah. Now Daniel means judge of Alua. Hanan means favor. Yahuwah as favor, or Yah has favored. Mishaal means interpose. Who is what Alua is? Who is what Alua is? And Azar, assistance. Yahuwah has assisted. Yahuwah has this word. I don't use this word anymore because, as the name of the mighty one, H-E Lamad, all they did was attach the P to it. So I'm not going to use it anymore, Barak Yahuwah. My name is still Azariyahu, but this English word, not going to be using it anymore. So these are their Abrit Hebrew names with pure meaning, and not just meaning, but functions. Daniel, judge of Alua. And that's what he did. He judged between righteousness and unrighteousness. Hanan Yahu, favor. Yahuwah has favored, and that's what Yahuwah did with them. He favored them. And not only that, Mishaal, who is like Yahuwah, that's what they're saying, who is like Alua, who is what Alua is. That's what they're saying. Who is Yahuwah? Who can be like Yahuwah? That's what Mishaal really is saying. Who is what Alua is? Who is like unto Yahuwah? Then Azar, Yahuwah has assisted, has rescued. And that's what he did through all 4 of these males, these children, these boys. When they were cast into the fiery furnace, Yahuwah showed them not only favor in the land, because they were higher ranks than most of all the people, but Yahuwah showed them favor in the fiery furnace, and he azar them. He assisted them. And he showed there's none who is like Yahuwah. Then with Daniel, he judged between righteousness and unrighteousness, between the interpretations of the dreams, and he told the king, he spoke with boldness. So do you see how their names operated in their life, how it functioned? It's just like me, Azari Yahu. It's because of the assistance that Yahuwah has given me even before knowing his name. And then coming to know his name when I taught with him, that's what he did for me from I was a child. I remember when I was close to death, and he azar me, and I'll be sharing my testimony so you can understand, how I came to the truth. And in my testimony, you'll hear of my very, very, very close encounter with death. I should have been dead at the age of probably 2 or 3 years old. So that's what he did. And even to this day, he still azar me. He still assists me. So these 4 names, looking at their meanings and looking at what Yahuwah did when they were in Babylon, you see that it lines up to his function, his role. So whenever they were given names, it was because of what Yahuwah did or what they wanted Yahuwah to do, but mostly what Yahuwah done. Just like Leah, when Leah gave the name of each child, it was because of what was taking place. If she cried, she would name the child something cried. If Yahuwah had shown favor, she would name the child Hanan Yahu. Yahuwah has favored. If Yahuwah assisted her, then she would name the child Azari or Azar Yahu. You get what I'm saying? That's what happens. That's what took place with all the names. When Yahuwah changed the name of Abram or Abaram to Abar, Abarham, Abaram means father, I father. Abraham means father of all nations or much nations. Just as he did with Jacob, from Jacob to what? Yasharal. What does Jacob mean? Jacob means trickster or heel catcher, trickster, unrighteous. Then he changed his name to Yasharal. Yashar is a Hebrew word which means to be upright, to be upright, to be pure, to be righteous. It's not the Hebrew word for righteous, but when it says you want to be upright, you're striving to be righteous. So Yashar, Yasharal, upright, or you can just say righteous of Alua, upright of Alua. The word for righteous would be Zadak, or righteousness would be Zadik. That would be the Hebrew word for righteous, but Yashar means to be upright. So it's basically saying to be righteous, to be upright, to be pure, to be clean unto Yahuwah. And that's what he did. He wanted to be upright. He was on his way to go and apologize to his brother Ashu. And he encountered Yahuwah, Yahusha. He encountered Yahuwah in the flesh, Yahusha. Because it's not the first that Yahuwah has come down to earth. I don't know how people can see this. And even Yasharal told us this, that he saw Yahuwah face to face. But the scripture says no one can see Yahuwah face to face and live. What does that mean? No one can see Yahuwah in his spiritual, powerful form. You cannot look at Yahuwah in this fleshly form because this flesh is corrupted. It's not like how it was it's not like how it was with Adam, when Adam was more pure, before he got corrupted, before he transgressed. You cannot see Yahuwah in this form, in his spiritual presence or essence being, and live. You would die. So how can Yahuwah talk with us, tabernacle with us, without us dying? There's only one solution. He needs to come as he made us in his own image. So all he has to do is just simply put on flesh and come as a man that you can physically see. There are a lot of persons that see Yahuwah and messengers all the time. I mean, we all have. We don't realize, but most of us have. Sometimes when you see a person coming to you, you don't know this person out of nowhere, asking of your assistant, asking you for some change or asking you for whatever the case might be. Sometimes that could be a messenger. Yahuwah's just testing you to see if you truly would. Remember, he said this. When I was hungry, thirsty, naked, you did not do these things for me. And he said, when were you, Yahuwah? And he says, when you did not do this to one of these. Not only that, he says to be careful. You might be entertaining messengers unaware. So not because you see a man dressed in very lovely clothing, you're going to treat him like a king. Then a man dressed in raggedy clothes, you're going to treat him like a nobody. That man that dressed in raggedy clothes could actually be a king, the king of all kings. I mean, we saw this with Yahusha. When you read about the descriptions of Yahusha, he was not very attractive, handsome. He did not come in royalty clothes, decked with gold and silver and all these things. And looked at how people looked at him and deal with him very poorly, very badly, very awful. And that was the king of all kings, and they didn't know. This is why Yahuwah teaches us this. We don't know who we're really entertaining. The person might seem like a poor person, a homeless person, but that could actually be Yahuwah that you're talking to, that you walk past, that you did not give that change. That could actually be Yahuwah. So be careful. So back to this. These were their names. That was the function of Yahuwah and what they did and what they stood for. Now, verse 7 says, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name of Baal Shazar. Now, let me show you a key part to this. This is what they do to us. They would give us the name of their mighty ones. because our names had the name of Yahuwah. So they wanted to remove Yahuwah's name from our name. That's what Yahuwah says in Second Chronicles 7, verse 14. If my people that are called by my name, as you can see, Daniel, Azar Yahu, Anan Yahu, Misha'al, these all had the name of Yahuwah. They all had the name of Yahuwah or were given esteem to Yahuwah. And remember, our last name would have been Yasharah because we are of the descendants of Yasharah. So that would have been our true last name. So even the name Abraham, which means father of many or much nations, like Yahuwah, his last name would still be Yasharah. It will still be of that sense, if you get what I'm saying. Because they're all of that same bloodline from Adam coming all the way down. One big family. So it still gives esteem to Yahuwah, if you get what I'm saying. Masha still gives esteem to Yahuwah. So they had to change their names, and Daniel's name, he had Bahal Shazar. Bahal, remember, Baal or Bahal was a mighty one that was worshipped, that was honored and esteemed. Bahal is the mighty one that they would sacrifice children unto. Malek or Malak, Salak Yahuwah, but that's the mighty one that I'm talking about. That's him. So they named Daniel after him. Hanan Yahu, they named Shadrach. Now, the Hebrew, let me show you something interesting. Listen to this, everyone. The Hebrew word for demon is shad. Shin, you have the shin, and you have the aleph, and you have the dalat. Shad. S-H, wait, I think it's shin dalat rather. Shin dalat. S-H, the A is only for the pronunciation, the sound, because remember the shin makes a sha sound, so shad. And then the dalat, the D. So that's the Hebrew word for demon, shad. Demons, shadim. So his name was Shadrach. Interesting, right? Then you look at Misha. These are all names that they would give honor or esteem to their mighty ones. So they gave them not only name changes, new languages, foods, they gave them all these things. They gave them a new culture, a new identity. They did not want them to be Yahudim, Hebrew males, people of the Abrit culture. They wanted to change their culture from being Abrit to something else. And look at where we are today. Have our cultures been changed? Yes, they have. The two Babylon cultures were all changed. They did not worship Yahuwah anymore, esteem Yahuwah. They worship man. Now let me show you that this Babylon worship man. Let me prove it. Let's go to chapter 3. We already know this. Now Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits, and the breadth thereof was 6 cubits. He placed it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babel. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king sent together the princes and the governors and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, counselors, sheriffs, and the rulers, all the people, to come to the dedication of the image which he had put up. Then the princes, the governors, all the people gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar had put up. And they stood before the image that he had placed up. Then a herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at the time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of instruments, not that word, music, you shall fall down and worship the golden image that the king had put up. Not set either. And whosoever does not fall and worship The same hour shall be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. So you shall be killed if you do not worship this image. Worshiping the image is worshiping the king, the mighty one, Nebuchadnezzar. So Nebuchadnezzar was also worshipped as a mighty one as well. Therefore, at that time, when all the people heard and all that, they fell and they worshipped. Wherefore, at that time, certain Kasdim came near and accused the Yahudim. They spoke to the king, Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the instrument shall fall down and worship the image. Whosoever does not fall and worship, that person or persons shall be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. I'm just reading this in basic English because we know this English is messed up. This is worded from the King James, and this worded from Angelos, and the original name for English is Anglish, from the Anglo-Saxon, the Anglos. That's why English is so stupid today and so foolish. Doesn't make any sense, because if you should listen the original English, man, it sounds like witchcraft. It sounds like chanting. It doesn't even sound like a language. Or if you want to see what I'm saying, get what I'm saying, go grab a 16. You don't even have to buy it. You can download this on Play Store or the App Store. Go download the 1611 King James Version, and you will see what I'm talking about. There are certain Yahudim who you have placed over the affairs of the province. See, they had favor. And if you read chapter 1, you will see that they had favor there and even now. The province, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These males, O king, have not regarded you. They serve not your mighty ones, nor worship the golden image which you have put up. Because remember, they worship more than one mighty ones. They did not worship one Allure. They did not worship one Allure. They worship much Allures, much mighty ones. That's why all these religions today, they worship more than one. They don't believe in one king, one Allure, one power. They believe in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why? Because Yahuwah says one, so they're going to do the opposite. They're not going to do one. They will do anything but one. That's the thing that we need to understand. I've seen a person to make a post, a comment. I don't remember if it was a YouTube video or if it was on Facebook. And this person said, it was so stupid and wicked. And this is a demon in disguise. We got to be careful of these persons. There are wolves out there in sheep clothing. Be careful. That's the warning from Yahuwah. Not everyone who seems righteous is righteous, people. Be wise. Look at their fruits. Come on, man. So this guy went on and said, and listen to the confusion and the nonsense in what he's saying, and tell me if this makes sense to any of you. Now, this guy said, those who believe in that oneness thing is as the same as the Trinity. I'm like, huh? He said oneness is the same as Trinity, or one is as the same as three. Now, can someone explain to me how one is the same as 2 or 3? I don't get it. How can one item be the same as 4 items? I get that you can probably say, well, they're the same items. I mean, you can have, let's say you have one BMW, let's say you have a BMW M3 and you have 3 of them. One M3 is the same as the other 2. And you get them in the same color and all that stuff. Yeah. So that's probably what he's saying. One is the same as 3, really. It's not the same. It's 3 separate cars. It's not one car, it's 3 cars. And something will be a bit different about each 3. Doesn't matter if they're the same BMW M3s. They're going to probably be the different colors, or something's going to be unique. Because even with these car companies, They always have unique cars. Even though it's an M3, they will have a special edition M3. They will have a special edition M4, M5, and all they notice that with these car companies, even though they build 1,000 M3s, all with the same horsepower, design, and features, the only thing that will be different is the color of the exterior and the interior, and the rims will be a bit different, but everything else will be the same. But notice they will have a very unique M3, one that will stand out from all the other M3s. They will probably have a little bit more horsepower, a little more sleeker or aggressive or neater design, more comfortability. It will have something that stands out. Even in these car companies, they show you that there is a difference. You have to have something that stands out. I've seen all the times. So explain to me how one is the same as three, or how three is the same as one. Three and one are not the same. I have one apple, you have three apple. We don't have the same amount. You have two more than I have. So it's not the same. So explain to me, someone, how is that the same? How does that make any sense to you? Don't you see that's confusion? That's of the enemy. Only the enemy does that. Yahweh says he's not the author of confusion. Yes, he confounded their language in Nimrod's time because of their disobedience, but he's not going to always confuse you. Whatever he gives is supposed to be clear. There's supposed to be clarity. And that's what a lot of persons don't have today. A lot of so-called teachers don't have today, and leaders. They don't have clarity in what they're teaching and what they're saying. And even if you should ask them, they will try to run away, change the subject, or not answer you, or get aggressive and say, if you don't like it, then you can go on. They don't try to explain it with proper scriptures that makes it clear. And not only scriptures, but evidence, facts, proof, life itself. You should be able to use scripture and creation, life itself, to prove your claim. For instance, Deuteronomy 28, these elites, these pagans say we are the Gentiles, and those people over there in that Jewish nation, those guys dressed in the black suits and hat, they are the real people of the scriptures. All right, let's prove it with scripture and with facts, with real life. Now, in Deuteronomy 28, it tells you what happens to his people. Yahuwah tells you they're going to be scattered all over the earth, not be in one place. Plus, he says there's a lot of curses that will follow them. And the curses will be a sign for his people. So by the curses, you will be able to recognize and know, oh, these are the Most High people. Why? Because the curses that follow them makes it. That's what Yahuwah says. Now, if you look into reality, there is a group of people that are plagued with curses today, that curses follow, that have been slaves, scattered all over the earth, and that curses follow even up until this day. Read off Deuteronomy 28 from verse 15, not verse 1 to 14, because that's where they read only insanity. Pastors don't read after verse 14. They only read verse 1 to 4 because they love the so-called blessings. They love the tithe money, the blessings of tithe and prosperity. That's all they preach about. Money, prosperity, paganism. They don't read verse 15 all the way to 68 and explain it to you. Why? Because some, let's say half, don't know, and the other half don't want to be exposed. Half of them don't know really how to explain that. And the other half don't want to be exposed. They don't want you to start think, because if you start to think, then you're going to think harder. You're going to think more. You're going to do more research. Then you're going to realize that it's all false. It's all wrong. What he's teaching is all false. And guess what? No tithe money for him. No more fancy jet, fancy car, and all this nonsense. So he has to keep you in the deception, in the lies. And in order to do so, he has to steer you away from the truth, so you can figure out what really is fact. So he made this image. He commanded them to worship his mighty ones, worship the image, and all this nonsense. So we get in this understanding from the first Babylon, the second Babylon. Both are the same. The only thing that's different are different human kings or human leaders and different parts of the earth. That's the only thing that's different. But the process, the system, the belief is all the same. Now let's jump to the book of Revelation. First place that we're going to is Revelation chapter 13, Barak Yahuwah. Now let me show you something. Chapter 13, and we know about, the beast and the beast rising up and all that nonsense and all that, and worship and commanded and all that stuff. But we're going to go down a bit. We're going to go down to verse 14. No, and this, it says, no, the first beast whose deadly wound was healed, and he does great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of mankind. Now, is this fire coming down from the act from where Yahuwah is? No, it says heaven, not heavens. So literally, this is the sky. The Hebrew word is the Hebrew word is shamayim, which means the skies, basically, the sky. Shamayim, opening above the waters, opening above the skies. So when you look at the Hebrew meaning and true translations, then you understand that Shamayim and Shemayim is just saying Shemayim is just simply saying the sky. So what Yahuwah is saying, what Revelation is saying right here, that he makes fire, so that he makes fire come down from the sky. We know they have the technology to do so today. I mean, they can have a drone plane in the air and shoot out a fireball and all this nonsense. We have heard of these missiles and all these things and seen these crazy, unexplained wildfires all over the earth. Some are of Yahuwah, but not all are of Yahuwah. You do have some controlled wildfires. Do your research. Verse 14. And deceives them that dwell on the earth by the means of these miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had the power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as much as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, what was Nebuchadnezzar's decree? Anyone who does not worship the image should be what? Killed, thrown into the fire furnace. Don't you see the similarities? Still the same. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. No, in the Shama, Yahuwah says, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, in your foreheads, and a sign upon your hand. So you shall remember, it shall be always in your mind, the front of your minds. That's what Yahuwah is saying in the Shama. And it shall be displayed through your actions, your hands, because we use our hands to work. We use our hands, our feet to work. So hand means to work. The yad, that's what yad means in the Hebrew. The Hebrew letter. The Hebrew letter yad, that's what it means. Use your hands to work. So that's what Yahuwah is saying, by your actions, by your mind, not only in your mind. Yahuwah says you must not only be a hearer of the word, you hear it, take it into your mind, but you must be a doer of the word also. So you show Yahuwah. You must do so within truth and deed. So the mark of Yahuwah, if you should read Exodus 13 verse 16, the mark of Yahuwah is the Shabbat, obedience. The mark of the beast is what? Sunday, disobedience. Do you all see that? That's why the entire world today rests on Sunday and observes Sunday as the Shabbat, and not the seventh day, which is FRID at evening to SATD at evening. That's truly the Shabbat. And as I said, it's two of the most defiled days in the week, and that's proven. There's no one that can rebut that. Go do your own survey. Don't listen to anyone that comes and try to debunk what I'm saying. Do your own survey. Go into the malls or cities on a Monday, T day, W day, TH day, FRI day, SAT day, and Sunday, and see which day is the most busiest, which day does the most buying, selling, partying takes place, lawlessness takes place. Look at which days takes place. Doesn't happen on W days, TH days. The most days that this happen, buying and selling, FRI day, SAT day. When does most of the world get paid? FRI day. Some, yes, TH day, some W day, but majority get paid FRI day, especially here in Jamaica. Most persons get paid that day, especially if you're on a weekly or fortnightly salary. That's when you get paid. And that's when you get the chance to go buy groceries. Do you see the deception behind? Then on Sunday, no, you're laid back. You go and you make your Sunday dinner, you go and chill, you go and hang out by the beach. Most businesses close on a Sunday. Go do it for yourself. I've proven it. I've done the survey right here in Jamaica. I've done the survey. And I've asked several persons in the United States, and they all said that's true. They have done it as well, and they've seen it. So go do it for yourselves. So the mark of Yahuwah is simple. This is the mark of Yahuwah. The mark of Yahuwah is obedience. The mark of Hashatan is disobedience. It's that simple. But it's really deep. It's really greater than that. When you really understand it, then it becomes simple. But if you don't have knowledge, if you don't seek the truth, then it will be hard to understand. So for those who seek truth, who is researching, it's like, whoa, wait. So it's not as hard as I thought. It's not like that challenging to interpret, because that's how it seemed in religion. It seemed very hard. Like even to this day, people are still wondering what's the mark of the beast. And much thought it was the vaccines. Some were saying it's going to be well, at first, before the vaccines came about, before COVID-19 came about, a lot of persons were saying it was going to be an NRF and the RFID chip system. It's going to be a chip in your hand, an implant in your hand. Then when COVID came and the vaccine came, everyone changed and said, no, it's going to be the vaccines. If something else should come out, then they're going to change again and say it's going to be that. So you see what I mean? They're still trying to figure out when it's really simple. It's really simple. Mark of Yahuwah, the sign of Yahuwah, the mark of Yahuwah is the Shabbat. Go read it. Go read it in Shemot 13, verse 16, and look at it. Exodus 13, verse 16. Revelation 13, verse 16. Do you think that's any coincidence or accident why they are literally the same chapter, number, and verse? Different books, but the same chapter, number, and verses. Same chapters and verses are the same number. 13, 16, 13, 16. One shows obedience, one shows disobedience. Man, Barak Yahuwah. So, Shabbat is a sign, mark of Yahuwah's people. When you keep the Shabbat, truly keep the Shabbat the right way, the correct way, it displays that you are of Yahuwah. When you keep Sunday, then it displays that you are of the beast, you are of the system, because that's what the beast says, that's what the whore says. And that no man might be able to buy or sell except he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding calculate the number of the beast. Before we get here, this is something that they're going to push going forward. They're going to push and enforce and make Sunday into law. I mean, the RCC, the Roman Catholic CH, they told you, they're the ones by their authority, by her authority, did they change the seventh day from being the Shabbat to the first day of the week to being the Shabbat, by their authority, by her authority. No, final verse, verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is in the King James and other Bible translations, it will say 666. But the Sefer got it right. The Sefer displays the Greek because that's how you truly figure out what this is saying. You got to go back to the Greek. You got to go to the Strongs and go to the Greek. Then you figure out what this is saying. No, it says, let him, here's wisdom, let him that have understanding. This is why they can't figure it out today, especially those in Christianity, because they have no understanding whatsoever. You don't even know what his true name is. How can you have wisdom of Yahuwah when you don't know Yahuwah? How can you have understanding from Yahuwah if you don't honor him and worship him? So how can you be able to calculate this? That's why they are still puzzled about Revelation. That's why most pastors don't even read from the book of Revelation because they can't explain it. Because they don't know Yahuwah. They don't have the spirit of Yahuwah to interpret or explain it. Even though some gives the interpretation and explanation, they still can't even explain that. So right here, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is dash 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 666. This should not be number really, but it should be, for it is the name of a man, and his name or number is Chi Z Stigma. Chi Z Stigma. If you do the research, go back. I believe Yeshai did a video on this, exposing this. I'll try to drop that. I'll look for it and drop that video in the description. Yeshai did a video. There's this other guy. I don't recommend him. Honestly, I do not recommend him anymore. But he came to the same conclusion back in the day. But Yeshai did a video on this. Yahuwah gave me a vision on this and showed me Chaisi Stigma, who this really was, who this really is. He showed me in a vision before I watched Yeshai's video. And then when I saw it, I was surprised. I was shocked. It was late in the night that he showed me this, around the third watch of the night. And then I got up the next, in the daylight, I got up and he led me to Yeshai's video to confirm it because I was young at the time in the walk. So there was some, small doubts at the time. So he knew I would have needed confirmation. Now, at the time I was watching, I was, following Yeshai's videos and channel and all that stuff. I didn't knew him yet at the time. I was led to his video. And I was led to another person's, well, I was watching another person's channel. I wasn't really led, but I was watching another person's channel. And I saw that he did the video and it came to the same thing. And he showed the Greek history behind it. It was Truth Unveiled. Truth Unveiled. Chris from Truth Unveiled. Don't watch it anymore, especially since, some things that there were some red flags about him. His attitude, behavior, demeanor, it was off. It was too feminist. I mean, I can understand if he was gay back in his past in the world, but you're now in Yahuwah. Why do you still talk that way? I've seen videos of him, talking and his hand movements and how he talks. Like, I'm like, nah, dude, you need to cut that out. You need to stop that. Like, nah. But what made it more evident to me was when he did the video, basically defending, gays and homosexuality, even was to the point where he said David and Jonathan had a special kind of relationship, a special kind of love. I was like, well, this is it. Nope, I'm not going to ignore this red flag anymore. But he did do a video exposing this as well. And Yeshai did a video exposing this as well. And it was exactly what Yahuwah gave me in my vision. And if you do the research for yourself, there's a lot of persons that know this now today. There's a lot of persons that know this now today, but back then it wasn't so popular. So Chi Z Stigma are Greek initials, letters, and all that stuff. It leads you to today. Back then, this was his name. Just for teaching's sake, Jesus Horus Krishna. Jesus Horus Krishna. Today, we know him as Jesus H. Christ. When Yahuwah revealed that to me and showed me, I was so shocked. And even to this day, most Christians, most Christians cannot explain to you what the H stand for in his name. Some don't even know he has an H in his name. Some only know him as JC. They don't know it's actually JHC. So majority don't know, and those who do know that he has an H in his name, they don't even know what it means. But yet you say you have a relationship with him and you don't know what that H means. It's like me saying I have a relationship with my wife for 5, 10 years, but I don't know her name. I don't know what her middle name is or whatever the case might be. How stupid would that be? So how can you boast them? And Salahi Yahuwah for saying these mighty ones' names. Yahuwah Gaharata, Kal Shadim, Yahuwah rebuke you all demons, even now, Barak Yahuwah. Just for teaching's sake, especially for those who don't know, because not everyone knows that you will have younger persons watching. And when I say younger, I mean younger in the truth that really don't know these things. And then you got persons who are seeking the truth but don't know what you're talking about. So that's the only reason why I mentioned it in this video. You want me hear me say it again? I will spell it. So know that you have heard this video, I'll spell it as I always do. Spell these words and you go look it up for yourself. I do know that there are some persons who are they learn a bit slower than others. I'm not going to call you guys dunce or illiterate on all this nonsense word. It's just that you're just a little slower. And the main reason why you are is the fact that you probably know something is off with the education system today. So your rule is rejecting it. So people think you're dunce, but it's really the fact that you are thinking. You're thinking real deep and something feels off. So you're rejecting the nonsense, the lies. So I do know that we have some that are a bit slower when it comes on to spelling, and not all the time with me spelling it, works. They'll figure it out right away or whatever the case might be. So going forward, I would really love to write it on the screen or something so everyone can see. So that I'll do next time, Barak Yahuwah. So we have here again an image and name, changing of people, language, tongue, culture, and all that stuff. Now let's jump over to Revelation 17. Now in Revelation chapter 17, it reads, "And there came one of the messengers, which had the 7 bowls," Barak Yahuwah, "and taught with me, and he taught with me, saying, Come unto me, saying, Come here, and I will show unto you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon much waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the rue. He carried me away in the rue into the wilderness, and I saw a woman who sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of earth, of her fornication. Remember, this is Revelation chapter 17. Chapter 18 goes on to explain more. Then we get to 19, the Armageddon battle. Then 20, Ashland bound for 1,000 years. Then the reign with Yahuwah Yahusha. Then judgment. So this is basically the ending part. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the Kadashim. There was a massacre that took place with Yahuwah's people. This harlot had a great massacre of killing Yahuwah's people. Drunken with the blood of the Kadashim, and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahusha. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the messenger said unto me, Wherefore did you marvel? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her, which has the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that you saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. And here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he comes, he must continue for a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, goes into perdition. And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb. They shall do what? Make war with the Lamb. And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Adonai, master of the all masters, and king of all kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Verse 15. And he said unto me, the waters which you saw where the horse sits are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked no more. And they shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Yahuwah has put it in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree, and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahuwah shall be fulfilled. And the woman which you saw is that great city, which reigns over the kings of the earth. And after these things I saw another messenger come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his esteem. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babel, or Babylon, Babel, that great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and hold of every foul or unclean spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. It truly is. When you really understand this, it truly is, and it will make sense to you now. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, all nations. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her crimes, and that you receive not of her plagues. Come out of her, my people. The one which you saw is that great city that reigns over the kings of the earth. Come out of her, my people. Come out of her, my people. Now remember, it is over the entire earth. They got in the whole world drunk. Now, what could this be? Remember, it's a mystery. And it is Babylon. It is something that's going to put us, the chosen, into slavery. It's going to change our culture. It's going to change our language. Changing our language, changing the food we eat, all the stuff are in our names. And it's going to change who we worship. It's going to allow us to worship mighty ones. Now, tell me, what do you know today that does this? That give us food to corrupt us? Because go back to Daniel chapter 1 and read it. When Nebuchadnezzar made that decree, Daniel was purpose in his heart not to eat the king's food, to be defiled by the king's food, which means the king was giving them unclean food. He was telling them to eat unclean food. We know unclean foods today. They are pork and seafoods and other stuff. Now, tell me now, in today's life and time, what do you know that changes our culture, that gives us a new name, different mighty ones to worship, tells us to eat unclean food that is okay? There's only one thing that comes to mind, right? Religion. Filled with unclean spirits, all kind of every foul bird. There's only one thing, religion. That's why it's called religion, named after Legion. Remember the man that was possessed with multiple spirits? And when Yahuwah said to the demon, one of the demon, he said, "What is your name?" The demon could not give his name at the time because why? There was too much of them inside that one body. The demon says, "We are legion. I am legion, for we are much or a lot." So if he was supposed to give a name, they would have to be like, "Oh, well, no problem, Yahusha. All right, who we got in the house today? We got John, we got Andrew, we got Mike, we got Tom, we got Shelly over there right in the corner. Yeah, we see you over there eating that and drinking that pig's blood on Adam. Yeah, we see you too. And we got this one in the house, we got that one in the house, and we got this, we got that. All right, we got this one. What's your name again? Yeah, that's his name. We got this one. We got Bahal over here. We got this one. We got that one. So they just gave one name. They just gave one like term or title. Legion. Legion means multiple demons. You would hear these things in horror movies. You've heard Legion in horror movies. You've heard things named after Legion as well. And notice a lot of unclean spirits are always around. Even in the horror movies, it clearly shows it. You will have one body, but in that one body are multiple demons. So that's why it's called religion today. And look at it, it's filled with unclean spirits. It worships multiple mighty ones. It does not worship one mighty one. It worships multiple mighty ones. It changed our names all over the earth. Either you have a Scythian name, a Christian name, or a Muslim name, or a Dash name, or a this name, or that name. It all has name after a mighty ones. Look into it, people. Don't you see this? That's why Yahuwah says, "Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her crimes." Come out of her. Now, if we're scattered all over the earth, then this could not be the United States. Because then Yahuwah would be telling us to come out of the United States. But he's not talking about the United States. Now, remember, as I said, it has something to do with slavery as well. No. Today, we're not in physical bondage as we were back in the day. Back in the day, we were in, we knew that we were slaves. We could see it. We could see the chains and the shackles. We were whipped by our slave masters. We could see our slave masters. We knew our people did not, this was not a mystery. This was not hidden back then. But today, we are still in slavery. But most persons don't even know. Religion is bondage. It is slavery. And it has deceived and brainwashed the entire world. And if you notice, the nope or the poop, P-O-P-E, the poop, the nope, what did he do in 2016? He had an interfaith service where he brought all religions of the entire earth. He brought them all together. And then they all declared that they all, it doesn't matter what name they use. Doesn't matter if you pray to JC, God, the Lord. Doesn't matter if you pray to Buddha. It doesn't matter if you pray to Krishna, Shiva. It doesn't matter who you pray to. You are all praying to the same mighty one. Who is that mighty one? The devil. Religion was established during Nimrod. Nimrod and Tammuz and Semiramis are the originators of religion. That's how it all started. It all started in Babylon, Nimrod's time, when everyone's tongue was changed to different tongues, different languages by Yahuwah. Everyone left that place calling Nimrod another name. Some no longer would call him Nimrod. They would call him, let's say, Horish. They would call him Zeus. They would call him this. They would call him that. All these things. I'm just doing this for teaching sakes, so that those who don't know have an idea and understanding of what I'm saying, so they can research this for themselves. So Salahi Yahuwah. So everyone left calling Nimrod another name, calling Tammuz another name, and Semiramis another name. That's all they all started. Go watch out on unedited video about the origin of religion. Go watch his video. He made multiple videos about this. And it's accurate and it's true. So this all started during that time. Now, when it says that it reigns over the kings of the earth, now look at the Nope. The Nope, even though his rule is a little different and bigger. I remember I was skipping through the TV one day, and I came across a CNN live broadcast. There was a live broadcast on CNN and a couple other news outlets, and it was a UN meeting or a UN gathering, United Nations gathering, where all the nations of the world come together and discuss the political affairs of the world, that nonsense, their plans, their one world religion, one world order, new world order. But anyways, they have an altar, right? Because that's what it is. The podium is literally an altar. That's an altar. They have a podium, an altar. And upon this podium altar, you have this stand where you can place books on, and it has microphones. And on the stand, no one was there at the time. Then they introduced the Nope Francis. And he was walking to the stand. And when CNN and the United Nations, as a matter of fact, they showed his name and his title, because that's always what they do. They would normally show a person's name and their title. So let's say if Joe Biden was walking out to the pulpit, you would have Joe Biden, President of the United States. Vladimir Putin, President of Russia. Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. If you had someone that was not a president or a prime minister or a king or a queen of a country, then it would show his name and his title, his role. Director of Finance. No, the Pope came out. The Pope, because I'm not calling him Papa Francis, because that's what the Pope means. Father Francis, Papa Francis, and that's what Yahuwah is saying. Call no man on earth your spiritual father. So Aki, the Nope came out. His was Nope Francis, whatever his last name is, I don't remember, don't care. Francis. And on his title, and this was the United Nations that gave this title, everyone. His title was not the president of the Vatican, or the king of the Vatican, or the king of this, or the president of Italy, or Turkey, or France. His title was world leader. Have you guys ever wondered who's the world leader? I mean, we have leaders of nations, but who's the world leader? Who does the world reverence the most? The Nope. By the United Nations' own mouth and title phrase, his title was world leader, not world religious leader. I did not see religious there. It was not world religious leader. It was world leader. Plus, where does the Vatican sit? It sits on 7 hills, 7 mountains. If you put all the pieces of the puzzle together, it all leads to the Vatican, the Nope, and religion. All leads to that, everyone. You just got to pay attention. You just got to slow down. So this was his title, world leader. And you know how we prove this that he's the world leader? Notice when he goes into a country, the esteem and honor that this man receives. Red carpet, he drives around, everyone's there, bowing, worshiping, waving. Plus, this man has the audacity to say out of his mouth blasphemies that he is the substitution of the Messiah here on earth. He has the power to forgive crime. He says that you should not go outside of the RCC. You should come to the RCC, pray through them, come to them and ask forgiveness. Plus, when you ask them who changed the Shabbat from the seventh day of the week to the first day of the week, Sunday, they clearly state, you can go look this up on Google. They clearly says that they change it by hers authority. They did not receive this by instruction or power of the Most High to change the day of worship. They did this by their own doing. They are displaying their mark of authority. By their mark of authority did they do so. So as you can see, Mystery Babylon is not the United States. It's a lot deeper. That's why it's called Mystery Babylon. Why is it a mystery? Because you are a slave and don't even know it. Because you are a slave in your mind. The shackles are in your mind. You can't see it. That's the worst prison you can ever be in. Because you don't know that you're in a prison. When you're in a physical prison, you can see the bars, the chair, you know. So you know how to control your mind. But a prison of the mind, man, that one is very hard. That's why today most people can see the lies and the deceptions that they're in because they're under the deception of Hashatan. Most are under a strong delusion. They're in the bondage of and slavery of religion. And they don't even know. So that's why it's so hard for us to talk to, especially ex-Gens. And you would have thought that they would be more understanding and considerate because, you know, they boast that they are Bible believers and they worship the Most High, they love the Most High. So you would have thought that ex-Gens or people in religion would understand that his name must be Yahuwah or all the stuff. But you realize that people in religion are the one that rejects this truth the most. Let me ask you this, and let me show you that even with the RCC, they did a massacre, killing off the true Yahudims. Why? Because they wouldn't convert. They wouldn't bow to religion. They wouldn't convert because the Emperor Constantine in 365 AD, he did what? He established this whole religion thing, Christianity thing, when he merged these mighty ones together. When he brought forth the birth of JC, that's what he did. He brought forth the birth of the image that you have today of JC, that man you have with blue eyes and long curly hairs, white skin. Yeah, that's who you're worshiping, the devil. You're not worshiping the Messiah. You're not worshiping the King of all kings. Because according to scriptures, that's not how he looks. So that's an imposter. The scripture clearly declares what he looks like. He have woolly white hair, his skin is dark, fiery red eyes, not blue eyes, red eyes. But today we got a man with blue eyes, white skin, and long dark hair, not white hair, long dark hair. And people don't see the deception and see the false, the paganism behind this because they're in Babylon. They're in mystery Babylon. They're under religion. They're under slave. They're slaves. Now, let me ask you this as well. And think about this. I did ask this in the one video. When we pray and when we were in religion, sorry, let me rephrase. When we were in religion and we were praying against the enemy and praying up a storm, praying against the enemy and his kingdom and all his soldiers. When we were in religion, whatever religion you were a part of, New Age, Christianity, Muslim, whatever, but I'm mostly talking about those who were in Christianity. from my perspective and understanding. When you were in CIT, you were praying in JC's name, praying against JC's enemies and his kingdom and all his soldiers. Who, now that you're in the truth, who do you think you were really praying against? Do you really think you were praying against the devil? Because that's what we thought. We were praying in JC's name, praying against the devil and all his minions. Do you really think we were praying against the devil, or were we praying against Yahuwah and his people? Were we attacking his people spiritually? Yes, we were. Even to this day, we see this for ourselves. When we try to go to those in Christianity, they will get mad at us and say, oh, blasphemy, blasphemy, you commit blasphemy. And they will rebuke us and say all these things. They will pray against us. I mean, some of us, we have experiences with our own, parents, our family members, especially if they're in religion. They will go back to their assembly, tell their pastor, oh, my daughter or my son, they have gone bad, they have gone crazy. Please pray for them. They're under the deception of the devil. They're influenced, and they will go in JC's name and rebuke us, rebuke the demon. They're rebuking Yahuwah, and they're rebuking us. And that's why we come under so much attacks. And we don't even realize this because we don't think that deep, that far. We don't slow down. So this is why we come under so much attacks in this walk today, especially from religious people. That's why we're so hated. And there's going to come a time again where actual killing will unfold. Like, I'm not just talking about one or two, I'm talking about multiple. Why? Because there's going to come a time where they're going to give you an ultimatum to renounce and denounce the name of Yahuwah, Yahusha, and accept the name of JC. I mean, they did this in Acts chapter 4, verse 12. Not verse 12, well, after verse 12, rather. They did this in Acts chapter 4, when they told Peter not to preach or teach, speak of this name to anyone. Not to preach or teach of this name anymore. They threatened Peter, or Kappa, as his Hebrew name is Kappa. They threatened him not to preach or speak of this name. What do you think happened after his time and our ancestors while we were brought here? They killed those who was bold enough to stand for the truth. Yes, today, no, we have a little leeway, we have a little freedom, because now Yahweh is delivering his people again from Babylon, from slavery. Barak Yahuwah. So that's why they are trying to unite all the world together, and that's why they are establishing a one world religion, one world currency, one world language, one world government, because they want it to go back to the days of Nimrod. They want all the people of the earth to come together. Why? Let's go to the next chapter. This is why they are uniting all of the world. They are uniting the world for that great battle called Armageddon, so that when Yahuwah Yahusha shows up, all the nations of the earth will be brought together in battle to war and fight against Yahuwah. But they will think it's a UFO. It's an alien. That's how they will see this. It's an alien, it's a monster coming to destroy and kill them. Well, that's what he's actually coming to do, but he's not a monster. He's actually the king of all kings. That's what he actually is. So that's what they're trying to do with all this nonsense, with this new world order, uniting all the world to come to fight on that great day. So these claims out here that are saying the United States is Mystery Babylon and all this nonsense, it doesn't add up. It does not add up with the first and second Babylon. Doesn't line up. We are not all of Yahuwah's people are all in the United States. They are scattered all over the earth. It says that Mr. Babylon, this whole thing has been over the entire earth, not just one place. It's not just one place. This is a worldwide influence, worldwide change culture. This is not just one place. Yes, America is now today the world superpower, but it will soon no longer be the world superpower. There will be another power, another king to take over. If you read the book of Second Esdras and you read about the feathers, and you understand the feathers and the head with the eagle with the three head, if you read that and really look into the history of the world's superpower, then you will realize that America is just like the heads and the feathers that rise up and disappear after a short time, rise up, disappear after a short time. It doesn't influence or brainwash or makes the entire world drunken off its fornication. America did not establish religion. Salaki Yahuwah for saying that name. The United States did not establish religion. Babylon did. Nimrod did. Babylon did. So those claims on YouTube, Facebook, those are all wrong. Wrong doctrines, claims, or whatever. Some sincerely don't know. They truly don't understand. Some, they don't care. They are literally wolves in sheep clothing trying to lead you astray, the hero. Scripture says, by their fruits you shall know them. Be careful, Kadashim. Be careful, family. First Timothy 4. You know what? Let me go there to read it. I want to say I'm reading or quoting my own thing. Let me go there real quick. First Timothy 4 verse 1 reads, now the rule, the Spirit speaks expressly, that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirit or ruhut and doctrines of devils, speaking lies in two-faced pretendency, and having their conscience shear with a hot iron, forbidden to marry, commanded to abstain from meats which Yahuwah has created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. But this right here, fall away from the faith. Now let's jump to another book, Barak Yahuwah. First Thessalonians, rather, it's not first, sorry. Second Thessalonians, chapter 3, verse, you know what? Let's read all the way down. Finally, brethren, pray for us, that the word of Yahuwah might have free course. Wait, it's not 3, sorry. It's 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Sorry about that. Barak Yahuwah. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, 1 to 3 reads, now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Adonai Yahusha HaMashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that you be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by rule, spirit, nor by word, nor by books, as from us, as the day of Yahuwah is at hand. Listen to verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. So before that day comes, the falling away must take place first. And that man of crime is to be revealed, the son of perdition. And that's what we see happening today. Some started out in the truth, started out doing the right work, wonderful work for Yahuwah, but guess what? They fall away from the truth. I've seen it. I've seen several persons fall away. Even this one guy, this one art that was doing really well in the truth. Some really, well teachings and understanding of the apocryphal books and all that stuff. I've seen him fall away from Yahuwah completely. Doesn't even mention Yahuwah name anymore on his page or anything. He's all about himself right now. I was so like, wow, man, like that easily. So be careful out here, Kadashim. You got some persons that are falling away from the truth. Then you got some that was not even in the truth. You got some that were under disguises. that was disguised as righteousness, but their action is not righteous. Let me go to another scripture to show you this. Let's go to First John. Here's John. Here it is. First John chapter 3. Right? Let's start at verse 4. You know what? Let me read the whole chapter, verse 1. First John chapter 3 are Yahuanan Rishun. Behold, what manner of love the Father has bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of Yahuwah. Therefore the world knows us not, because it knew him not. Beloved, now are we the sons of Yahuwah, and it does not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. That's the only way we can see him as he is. We have to be like him. We have to be back to the form of the pure form that Adam and Hua were in to see him. So that's what we're going back to. A pure form, never defiled, not defiled. And every man that has this hope or assurance in him purifies himself, even as he is pure. Listen to this. Whosoever commits crime transgresses also the Torah, for crime is the transgression of the Torah. And you know that he was manifested to take away our crimes, and in him is no crime. Whosoever abides in him commits no crime. Whosoever commits crime has not seen him, neither known him. Little children, let no man deceive you. He that does righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. He that commits crime is of the devil, for the devil commits crime from the beginning. For this purpose, I'm going to say the Son, the living Alua was manifested that he might destroy the works of the devil. Let no man deceive you. He that does righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. He that commits crime is of the devil. A lot of people say they're righteous, but they don't show it that they're righteous. A lot of people say they are righteous, and then they'll use terms, and this is what they'll use, these stupid terms that they'll use to keep themselves comfortable, or all this nonsense. Terms such as we're born and shaped in lawlessness, so we will make mistake, or they'll say I'm not perfect in all my ways, I'm striving to be perfect, or some other nonsense that they will say. Adam messed up, this one messed up, so we will mess up as well. They will use these terms, or they will find some other excuse, they will find some other way to point fingers, to deflect from themselves, trying to give an excuse for committing the crime, for not changing, for not repenting rather, because we will commit crime, we will make mistakes. I mean, we all have. But it's the repentance, it's the change that's important. The shub, to turn back to Yahuwah, that's important. And people run away from that, and they deflect from turning back. Why? Because the lifestyle that they're living, they enjoy too much. They have pleasure in unrighteousness. Let's jump to that scripture as well. Back to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Let's go down right here. Verse 11 and verse 12. I don't know why this is not highlighted. I did highlight this. Verse 11 and verse 12 says, for this cause Yah send them a strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be dumb, who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. They did not believe the truth, accepted the truth. They had pleasure in unrighteousness. So they will use all kinds of terms and excuses to say, I misunderstood you, or there was a misunderstanding, or I'm not perfect, or we're born in shape in lawlessness, so we are going to make mistakes. And instead of trying to say these things, Say Salaki, Yahuwah. Forgive me, Yahuwah. Assist me, Yahuwah, to be better, to be perfect. Because that's why Yahuwah says we need to strive to be perfect. We need to be perfect as He is perfect. So instead of saying, oh, I'm not perfect, or we were born and created in crime and lawlessness, oh, Yah knows my heart. Yeah, that's one of the other lines. Well, Yah knows my heart. I'm not perfect. All these nonsense. Instead of saying that, forgive me, Yahuwah. I don't say, oh, I'm not perfect. I know I'm not perfect, so I'm gonna mess up. Yah knows my heart. I don't say these things. If I mess up, I mess up. I confess it before Yahuwah and ask Yahuwah to forgive me. And I strive to change not to make that mistake again. If I mess up again, even if it's the same mistake, I keep on praying and seeking Yahuwah until He assists me. Even if I mess up 10 times, 50 times, I'm not going to stop until I seek forgiveness, until I change, and I'm going to try. And you will notice changes. I won't be finding any excuse to continue in this way. I've come across a lot that do that, that did that. Find some form of excuse. And the main thing is they're trying to do is they're trying to point the fingers. They try to blame you, blame Yahuwah, blame their condition, whether they're sick or they blame this. They always try to point fingers and blame everything and everyone else but the true and one person that deserves all the blame, which is themselves. You can blame no one or nothing for your mistakes but you. Barak Yahuwah. So be careful out here, Mashbaka. Lawlessness is increasing because of the transgression of the Torah, the law shall abound, the love of much shall wax cool. That's Matit Yahu or Matthew 24, verse 12. That's what we see today. And even those you know in the truth, yes, some of them, that's why they're behaving this way today. And you are noticing. You are taking notice of this. There is something in your rule that's off, that there's a red flag about, but because you probably have so much love for this person that you don't want to say anything or do anything about it. That's not love, people. We must show love in truth and in deed. Truth and in action. How can you say you love me and you see me going astray and don't correct me, don't say nothing, don't do nothing about it? That's not love. That is not love, everyone. Let me show you something. We're at 1 John 3, verse 11 onwards, or Yahuwah Rishon 3, 11 onwards. Listen to this. All right, we're going to read 10. In this, the children of Yahuwah are manifest, and the children of the devil, whosoever does not righteousness is not of Yahuwah, neither he that loves not his brother. Now, let me show you what real love is and true love is. Because people say, oh, I love you. I love my aunt. I love my ahuti. I love my sister. I love my brother. I love my akuti, my akote, my aki, my family. We all say we love, but we don't show it. Let me show you what true love is and love for Yahuwah is. Because yet the first greatest love is to love Yahuwah first. Love Yahuwah with all your heart, not with some, not with 90, 95, 99, with all your heart. That's the first commandment and first true love. If you can't even love Yahuwah with all your heart, then how can you truly love me? To love Yahuwah with all your heart, guess what? You got to be obedient. You got to do what he says. You got to keep yourselves from all forms of unrighteousness. All forms. If it's somewhat unrighteous, stay away from it. Birthdays, Halloween, partyings, anything that you know is unrighteous, stay away from it. To preserve yourself, to keep yourself pure unto Yahuwah. That's not my word, that's the word of Yahuwah. So this is true love. For this is the message that you heard from the beginning, that we should love one another, not as Cain, who was the wicked one and killed his brother. Wherefore he killed him, because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hate you, we know that we have passed from death unto life, because we love the brethren. He that loves not his brother abides in death. Whosoever hates his brother is a murderer, and you know that no murderer has eternal life abiding in him. Who is my brother? Who's my sister? Those who do the will of Yahuwah. You don't do the will of Yahuwah, then you're not. Hereby perceive we the love of Yahuwah, because he laid down his life for us. We are to lay down our lives for our brethren. This is true love. Let me show you. It's not finished. But whoso has the world's possession and sees his brother in need and shuts up his bowels of compassion for him, how dwells the love of Yahuwah in him? My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. How can you say you love me? You see me going astray. You see me doing something wrong. You don't even correct me. Or you say you are of Yahuwah and I come to correct you, or someone comes to correct you and tell you, hey, what you're doing is wrong. Then you'll be all puffed up. Oh, no, it's not wrong. And you pulverize the person, or you rebuke the person, or say the person is this, the person is that, all this nonsense. It must be in deed and in truth, not in fear, not in cowardice. I see that a lot as well in the swamp. You see someone doing something wrong, and instead of being bold and let the person know, you shut your mouth and say nothing about it. As a matter of fact, I've seen persons not only shut their mouth and say nothing about it, but they condole this person's act. They uphold it. They promote these lawless acts. I'm talking about persons in the truth. I've seen it on Facebook, YouTube. I'm like, whoa. This is love today? That's love. I don't want it. That love I do not want. I want the love of Yahuwah. I want a brother or a sister. If I'm doing something wrong, you can say to me, hey, don't do this, or this what you're doing is wrong. This what you're saying is wrong. We look out for each other in deed and in truth. Not in deed and in lies. Not in just word only. I mean, anyone can give food or money. I mean, that doesn't mean you love the person because you gave the person some money or you give the person some food. That doesn't mean you really love them. I mean, the world does that. We got celebrities donating all the time to charity. They do that all the time. Does that mean they're showing true love? Does that mean they love the person? They have a reason why they give. Everyone has a motive why they give. Everyone has a motive why they show love. You just got to figure out what's the person's true motive. Man, I don't even remember the ecclesiastical scripture that Yahuwah gave me. But Yahuwah is talking about counsel and true friend, or friend indeed. I don't remember what chapter it is, but you can go look this up for yourself. Yahuwah says not all counselors are true counsels. You need to first find out what that person's motive is for counseling you. Because not all of them motive are pure. Some of them only counsel you to gain from you. So be careful out here, family. We got a lot of we got a lot of wolves in sheep clothing, rather. A lot of persons out here under disguise. It's no wonder, it's no marvel thing that even Hashatan and his messenger transform into a messenger of righteousness. Wolves are out here, people. It's real. If there's a red flag about someone, seek Yahuwah about it. Because you might be saying, well, it's probably my flesh. It could be my flesh. It could be the devil trying to keep me away from this person. But it could also be Yahuwah. Make sure. That's what I'm saying. Find out. Verify. If you're not sure, then be certain. Be sure. Don't just sit there and say, oh, well, it might be me. It might be the devil. But it could be Yahuwah. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to still talk to the person anyway. Find out right away. Don't waste any time. Seek Yahuwah, pray about it right away. So please be careful with some of these teachings and videos, some of these teachers and leaders out here. I remember Zug said in his song Convo, Zug says, even though they call you brother, sister, still test them. Still test them though. Still test them, because not everyone who says master, master will make it into the Shamaim. Much will come to Yahusha and says, Master, didn't we did this in your name and done that in your name? And he's going to say to them, get away from me. I know you not. So not everyone that says brother, brother, or sister, sister is actually your brother or your sister. Some have some very ill motive. Be careful. And don't be afraid to speak up. It doesn't matter if you've known the person for 15 years. Unrighteousness is unrighteousness. Do not uphold it. Do not condole it or uphold it. Condemn it. Let them know this is true love. Let them know what you're doing is wrong. Your lifestyle is wrong. Do not let fear allow you to be silent or to condole this act of lawlessness, this unrighteous way or behavior. Because that's what I see happening a lot as well. People are allowing fear to cripple them not wanting to speak up or to say anything. Because you are too fearful of what the person will say, or you're fearful of another person's opinion. Oh, people will call me crazy, they will call me mad, or you're fearful that you might lose the person, whether that be your spouse, your friend, family member, it doesn't matter. You cannot fear these things more than fearing what Yahuwah will do to you if you don't obey. You got to fear that more. Who would you rather to please, that person or Yahuwah? Let me ask you this. Which one of the two will be your judge at the end of the day? That person or Yahuwah? We already know it's Yahuwah. So please, ask Yahuwah to rebuke the spirit of fear. Pray like the apostles did in the book of Acts chapter 4. When they were threatened by the high council, the Pharisees and Sadducees, they prayed, they came together, they prayed, and they asked Yahuwah for more boldness. If you know you're struggling with fear and doubt, pray and ask Yahuwah for boldness so that you can be more bold and stand for the truth. Barak Yahuwah, Allahu Yah. So this is the video. This is the end of the video. I'm not going to go any further because there's nothing else to see. There's a lot that have been said. No, for some persons, it might take a while for you to really grasp this. Take as much time as you need. Barak Yahuwah. Seek Yahuwah on these things so you can grow, so you can be better, you can be stronger and closer in your walk with Yahuwah. Allahu Yah, Ruma Mu Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah, who is Yahusha. I say that with all confidence and with all boldness. Barak Yahuwah. To everyone that has supported, we greatly, greatly appreciate you guys. Ruma Mu Yahuwah. Everyone that has liked, shared, subscribed. You are supported physically, spiritually, we greatly, greatly appreciate it. Financially, Barak Yahuwah, we appreciate it. Ruma Mu Yahuwah. For those who continue to fight with us in the spiritual battle, man, continue that fight, that work, continue to be a warrior of Yahuwah, continue to fight that right fight, so that at the end of this fight, you can receive your crown of righteousness the same way Akisha'al, the Apostle Paul, did. Continue to fight this fight. One can chase 1,000, two put 10,000 to flight. Even if you are physically alone, spiritually you are not alone. Always remember that there is a brother or sister, or there are brothers and sisters somewhere on this earth praying on your behalf, even though they don't know you, or even though you don't know the person. Pray for each other. That's what James 5:16 says. Confess your faults one to another. Pray one for another that you might be healed. When you do this, you are not being selfish, but you're being selfless. So continue to fight that righteous fight in Yahuwah. Even if you are the only one in your community, your family, your neighbor, your whole city that's in the truth, there is someone else praying for you on your behalf. Always remember that. Yorak Yahuwah. Hallelujah. As I said, video will be in the description regarding Yeshua's teaching on the mark of the beast. So I'll drop that in the description so you all can watch it if you don't know what I'm talking about or who I'm talking about, Barak Yahuwah. So you can go and watch this and see this for yourselves. Rumamua Yahuwah. Our emails will also be in the descriptions for those who have probably discussions that you don't want the entire world to see. You might have questions that you want to ask, or you can do so through the email. Comment sections there is open, Barak Yahuwah. You can go there, post your questions and all the stuff, share or any of that positive stuff. Any negative thing will not be accepted. It will be deleted, not be accepted. Coming here boasting or trying to push nonsense, it will not work on this channel. Not work, will not be tolerated. I've seen a lot try to do this. So wolves in sheep clothing, don't even try. Don't even try. Your comment will be deleted. You'll be blocked and mute from this channel. Barak Yahuwah. Hallelujah. But again, hope you all had a wonderful feasting in Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah, Ruma, Mu Yahuwah. And I'm excited. I can't wait to see next year, the true new year. Barak Yahuwah Abib. Can't wait for the other feast days to come back again. Ruma, Mu Yahuwah. But gotta wait a few months. Barak Yahuwah. But we still have our weekly feast, which is the Shabbat Yom, every week. So thank you, Abba Yahuwah, for this day. Thank you so much for all that you have done, for all that you're doing, and for all that you are about to do. Barak Yahuwah. We love you all, Kadashim. We love you all, our family. Barak Yahuwah. Even though I ask that Yahuwah show respect, favor unto you, and that he guard you all in your going out and in your coming in, and in all the works of your hands. Barak Yahuwah Yahusha. Ba'asham Yahuwah Yahusha. This is Watchman Azariyahu, and signing out on behalf of Yahuwah's chosen people assembly. Shabbat Shalom, beloved family. Rumamu Yahuwah.